Hello ladies and gentlemen, Meoni here of AceGamesTV, and I've got a brand new video for you on Star Citizen. Now this game is shaping up to be something I'm really mega excited about. Obviously I've spent way too much time and money on the project already to not cover every aspect of it. And so we're back in the Hangar module again today, and today we're featuring some of the changes to the Cutlass. Now as you can see over there to the left I have my constellation. Unfortunately all the recent patch for last week brought, unfortunately, was lighting bugs, making it virtually impossible to see in the cockpit. So there's not really anything new on that ship. However, the Cutlass, my little baby over here, has had some significant changes, which we're about to look at right now. So as you can see, I'm actually looking around the ship for a new button that they've allowed you to actually activate most of the things on the ship now with actual integrated buttons. Previously on the ships in the Hangar module, you had to go to the rear of a ship or to an item and there'd be a big on use button to press F. It would open. But now, as you can see here with this little blue button on the right leg here of the rear of the Cutlass, this is actually opening and closing of this door. Now there are no sound integrations to this particular model. They haven't added that. They've simply added animation functionality, and they've actually tarted up some of the textures. As you can see here on the engines, I don't know if you noticed, but it looks significantly different from the first render pass, which has definitely added some definition to the features. So in here we do actually have buttons to close the door now behind. A lot of the ships in the Hangar module you weren't able to do that. They're starting to get all of the buttons lined up to sync to animations. You can see here this sort of strange shadow that looks like somebody fist pumping or flexing. This is actually from the turret redesign upstairs. So if we press this button, at first I was a little bit confused here. I was like, well, is this for the turret? I pressed it again, and then there's a chair there, and then I pressed it again, and I'm like, what's going on here? So eventually I decided to have a sit down, and then I realize, what is this? There is a hole in the floor. Why is there a hole in the floor? So I realized that this button actually is for the actual hatch opening here at the bottom. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the Cutlass's design, as you can see, I can fall through here. It's actually designed as a ship, technically on the specifications to be a search and rescue ship, where you would open this hatch. But it's also supposedly, I mean, more realistically used for pirateering. As a ship that would literally land on something, you'd open this and you'd cut your way into the hull of another enemy vessel to take it and plunder it. As you can see, you press this here and you've got those lovely sort of spiral closing of the doors there. I do love that. That is a really cool and neat addition. It's going to be even better when they tidy up some of the features here, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. None of these things on the sides work at the moment, these airlocks. This actually opens the door here, the top one. So the bottom one, I wonder what the bottom one does. And any second now. Any second now. There we go. So it came down. I didn't see it. It's quite slow to come down. It's really fast to go up. So let's have a sit down on our new manned turret. So this is actually using some quite significant changes. Before you couldn't get in here and there was no guns on it. But now you do have these repeaters attached to the turret, which looks awesome. Obviously you'll be able to rotate this around. It will pivot. Here, if we go into the almost no-clip cam third-person mode, we can see what it would look like. So that is roughly what you're going to see shooting at you when you're about to be raided by pirates. I do love this ship. They are certainly adding features to it, but wow, I'm so just gobsmacked by the detail and the aspiration of the people who designed this vessel, and the work that's going into, keep things up to date. Imagine this on all the other ships. It'll be even better with sound. So as you can tell, the bottom button there on the right does close this again. If we press this, I'm going to try and catch it on camera. It's pretty fast though. Oh, we've accidentally sat down again. See, this is another problem with the alpha, as far as I'm concerned. It's very easy to accidentally press one of the other buttons when you're next to it. So there needs to be, either a mouse pointer or something more indicative of where your cursor is facing, so that you don't accidentally press the airlock, for example, in mid-space instead of opening the door, which of course could be quite disastrous. So let's close this one at the back here, just to show that it works. There we go, look at that, that's really cool. So let's open it again, and awesome. So those two buttons both deal with the rear door there. The ones on the right here deal with the door and the airlock. So there's one in here as well. As you can see, this is to close that door. So the emphasis on the recent Wingman's Hangar episode was that they're going to segregate parts of the ship, so that obviously in a danger situation where you're boarded or you lose atmosphere in a certain section, you can close off bulkheads. This button here on the left actually opens this sort of like ejector door now, this sort of hatchway where you can get onto the wing here. Very, very cool for maintenance, etc. I can imagine, you pull up somewhere on Terra, you use this to open. Your ship's been blasted to hell, and you need to make some repairs. You're an engineer, so you jump out onto the wing. Obviously, the animations for the character here need some work in progress, but they're working on ships, which is way more important. But you'd come out onto the wing and you'd make some patches, and you'd patch up the hunk of junk that you've got until you can get to the next space dock where you can properly repair it. So there's going to be huge emphasis on, if you didn't already know, Star Citizen being a very free, open world, sandboxy space sim. And it's just going to be amazing. You can imagine the fiction that's going to be born from this. Honestly, like, there's going to be some real tales of daring do and some great lore stories. So I cannot physically wait. So there's the animation of getting in. So let's show you the animation that they've added for actually exiting. So it's a simple climb animation. It's not too fast at the minute. Now, a lot of the animations are quite slow, so you've got to imagine in an emergency situation if that's going to let you down or not. So obviously that will be a balancing issue in the later game, but it's definitely something to mention. So the cockpit here, obviously when people are in the seats, there will be a button to slide this into the middle, so you have a more, a centralized viewpoint instead of to the left. It's simply so slid to the left so you can actually access the seats, but you will have functionality to centralize that. Just if you're wondering, because it is kind of annoying to be offset and not realize that you can move that. But that functionality is not in yet. It's definitely had a better pass on it in terms of rendering, but this is not PBR, physics-based rendering, which they're actually going to be adding to the Hangar module subsequently. They've removed some of the UI buttons in here. You may remember from a previous video they had like UI elements here, flashing buttons, but they were clipping, so they would remove them temporarily so they could get all of that stuff working before they show us again, which is definitely the best route to go. So we can get in the back seat here. I'm really just showing off everything there is to do with the Cutlass. I think it's important to go through all of the elements of this ship again, because obviously every update we get for the hangar and for each ship, I'm going to try and show you guys, because it's quite key to you either purchasing and backing the game for a certain ship, or just curiosity if you don't have this type of vessel, but you might be interested in getting one in game later on. So let's close the door now. We're pretty much done with this particular ship. There's one more thing I want to show you in a second, but just for to take you around here, look at the legs. Now, I was actually looking for the front button. There's supposed to be one, which I'm about to show you now. On the front left, over here, there is another blue button, and this actually is access to the side of the ship. It also opens, if you didn't see up there, the animation for the hatch, so you can actually enter that way. The ladder doesn't work at the moment. That functionality was removed because of clipping or something. I seem to remember reading the patch notes. Obviously, there's going to have to be a more secure solution to opening and closing doors, because otherwise someone could just fly next to your ship and open your airlocks. But I'm sure they'll come to that. So there's one more thing I want to show you that came in this Hangar Patch. In fact, it was two Hangar Patches. One was just a load of bug fixes, but this one was the real meat and potato. So here, if we go to the holotable on our gun area, the firing range, which was added in the last patch, which I made a video on, you can obviously put weapons, drag weapons off of the ship and put it on this firing range gun module here to test them out. Now they've added a few cool things to this, including sound effects and also moving targets to the firing range. So here I've put the M4A cannon on here, which is a repeater cannon, a laser repeater, which comes as part of the Constellation. Quite a powerful weapon in game, or will be, stat-wise. So here we are, let's get into our chair and start shooting. As you can see, we now have laser sounds. Oh, how cool is that? And not only that, but the laser projectiles do actually bounce off of surfaces now. Of course, this is a very, very, very early stage of this, and obviously this gun will be changed significantly for the actual subsequent releases of when we get new modules such as dogfighting, but it's really cool. The only thing I would say in terms of feedback is it's really awkward to aim at moving targets if you don't have an aiming reticle. Now, obviously the realism aspect says to me, yep, you wouldn't have an aiming reticle in real life, but surely in the future, you know, the far distant sci-fi future of human life, we would have something where we'd have like a Google Glass implement or something where we could target objects and see the projectile, you know, where we're actually firing at. But that's pretty much it for this Hangar Patch. It's been a fantastic little Hangar Patch. They're adding more and more concept art. The next great starship is continuing. They actually did some designs for the actual starships now, so it's getting really heated. So be sure to go to the RSI forums, check all of that stuff out, and be sure to subscribe to AceGamesTV today for more of your daily dose of content when we get it in our hands towards future modules, including dogfighting, which should be in the next month. My name's Meoni, thanks for watching my video, and I will see you next time in the verse.